Welcome back to the Crypto's Key conversation. I wanted to start with this article right here. It says Bitcoin dips to 38,000 with further losses in sight. So it says key takeaways. Bitcoin hit a low of 38,000 on February 20th. Further selling pressure could push prices to 37,000 or even 33,500. The support level must hold to avoid a sell-off to lower lows. So I know the big number out there has been like 29,000 being like the major support level. One of the analysts that I follow, this is Crypto Crew U right here, and he was throwing up this chart here, and I got another one I'm going to show you, but he's pretty much talking about this stochastic RSI level. So he's saying from like the 19 to 21 level, but he was talking, showing how like as we broke through this, you would have like a quick rally up, but then you would have further suppression. So he's kind of showing this was back in 2014, this was 2018. As you can see, we broke through that 19 to 21 level. And as you can see, there was a slight rally, and then you kind of dip back down. And he's showing the days to recovery. This one was 579. This one was 395 days. And now we're currently here in 2022. We broke through, and then we had a 40% rally. But now he's pretty much showing like, hey, per history, we tend to have some more downside. So with that being said, like, are we potentially going to start be pushing down to these low 30s, maybe 29? And he was saying, we got to be careful if we don't hold support at 29. If we break into the 20s, that can be problematic. And we're not going to get too far into what he's saying, but as you can see, he has this 13,647 highlighted as a major level here. But until we get there, this is just kind of food for thought. I compare, contrast, a bunch of different analysts that I respect in the space to kind of see what their position is within, the technical analysis side of the market. But coming over here, I wanted to show you this real quick. Let me go back and show you the 559. 559. So if we come over here, he's also talking about this 3-day death cross right here. So he has it projected out to I think it was like late April, May range, just based on his projections off of the numbers he utilizes for this indicator. But he was saying we could potentially bounce off this, hit a rally hard to like, the 50s level, and then dip back down. But, until we get closer to this target and to see how it reacts, are we going to break through and have a true death cross, or are we going to bounce off that and continue on? He's kind of bringing up all these vital components and areas within the space based off his TA. So keep that in mind in regards of as we go forward in the next days and weeks. So coming over here, as we can see at CoinGecko, we're currently sitting at a $1.788 trillion market cap. And just looking at Bitcoin right now, because obviously Bitcoin's the leader, it's 37,965. So obviously, we're down from where we've been. And, based on what I was just showing you with this TA and kind of what these articles are talking about, like it almost seems like, we may have some further downside, especially with the uncertainty, within the markets, when you have Jerome Powell and the Fed and inflation, and then you have like stuff that's going on with Russia and Ukraine, and then you have just, a bunch of other FUD that's been going through the market in regards of like articles popping up about, the OpenSea stuff, and just, other FUD with the SEC going after lending platforms and other, exchanges, and you got the Ripple versus SEC case. There's just so much negativity going on right now. Looking at the regular stock market here, you got the S&P 500, down 1%, and then you have the NASDAQ down 1.2%. Looking at crypto here, there's red across the board. So, here goes one of the articles that I wanted to quickly touch on in regards of, the Russian stuff and how it's affecting the Federal Reserve's interest rate. So it says Russian-Ukraine incursion could complicate the Federal Reserve's interest rate decisions. So just off that headline alone, it kind of speaks volume, because it's like there's so much uncertainty. And as you could tell, the markets don't like the uncertainty, the regular stock market and the crypto market as well. There's a lot of people guessing out there, and there's a lot of fear that causes people to sell off. As you can see, that's why we are, down in this range. Now, if you look at the alternative index, when it comes to the fear and greed index of Bitcoin, look, we're still in this 20 range. We're back into the extreme fear range. So as you know, there's so much fear out there, which is causing a lot of sell-off. So it says the key points is the outcomes of Russia's incursion into two breakaway regions of Ukraine is uncertain, but it has already caused commodity prices to shoot higher. Economists say it's the price of oil that matters most, because crude prices can drive up inflation and slow down the global economy. What happens to oil could also determine whether the Fed continues a brisk pace of hiking after it raises interest rates in March, or ultimately slows the pace due to growth concerns. So, it's going to be quite curious to see how Jerome Powell and the Fed kind of, tackle this whole inflation component of our economy when it comes to their March meeting. Obviously, are they going to be, super hawkish, extra hawkish, and they, hike interest rates up massively, or are they going to take a more subtle approach to the market? I just wanted to touch on this headline. It says Biden says the U.S. will try to limit the effect of Russia's sanctions on gas prices. So obviously there's so much going on, and for all of us that are at our homes and not really involved in what's going on, and specifically with Russia and Ukraine, who knows what's real, who knows what narratives being pushed. But obviously there is some sort of tensions that's causing turmoils within the market. So that's a serious component of it. And then, also when you talk about, geopolitical stuff, you got like Canada citizens withdraw a massive amount of money from banks. So we were talking about in our previous videos how, the Canada government had set up these executive orders and pretty much sanctioning crowdfunding when it comes to these trucker blockades, collecting money for their causes. And then they started freezing assets, closing bank accounts. Now they started threatening the on and off ramps when it comes to digital assets. So, these, Bitcoin wallets that they had, they try to go to these centralized regulated exchanges that, these Canadian citizens would utilize to, on and off ramp their Bitcoin and convert it into fiat. So now you have, Canadian citizens withdrawing a massive amount of money from the banks. So coming down here, it says, the mandatory COVID-19 vaccine scheme is causing dozens of new protests in this country right now. The protests reached their climax a few days ago. The country's Prime Minister Justin and other officials announced that they may freeze the bank accounts of people who are obstructing the streets. A large number of Canadians are exchanging their cash for Bitcoin. They believe that by doing so, they will be protected from the government freezing their accounts. So, we talked about, some of the positive and negatives of this. Obviously, it's a negative what's going on within, Canada, but it's a huge positive when it comes to the crypto space because it just shows you the need for a decentralized, asset or infrastructure. Because obviously when it comes to the centralized entities, they have the ability to cut you off your assets. But then, when it comes to the decentralized crypto space and, utilizing Bitcoin or whatever the case is, it's like they can't stop it. Yeah, you can limit them when it comes to the on and off ramps, but if these, truckers or, even just any Canadian citizen has, Bitcoin on, their online wallet, whether it be a MetaMask, Phantom wallet, or whether they have, a hard, ledger or whatever the case is, that can't be, stopped or controlled because you can't stop, blockchain or crypto. So the thing is, though, it's the problematic point of it is like, okay, can they utilize that to pay for things? So obviously, not every business accepts cryptocurrency. So still, with that being said, they can still send funds, from peer to peer and, without the government overstepping their ability to do that, kind of avoiding the third party sense of it. So it brings a lot of positive to the crypto space. But this is, you have the Russian stuff, you have Russian Ukraine stuff, you have, inflation, Jerome Powell and the Fed stuff going on, and you have the Canadian stuff going on. You have, just so many different narratives going right now that are causing a lot of FUD within the market. So with all the negativity and stuff, there's still a lot of positivity that I want to cover in this video. So looking at this one, it's from Cointelegraph. It says tourism in El Salvador up 30% since Bitcoin adoption, minister says. So Salvadorian President Nayib Bukele previously announced that El Salvador's GDP grew over 10% in 2021. So obviously we know El Salvador is like the front runner and leader in regards of Bitcoin adoption when it comes to its legal tender status. So it says El Salvador's adoption of Bitcoin as legal tender in September 2021 has triggered a notable surge not only for its gross domestic product, its GDP, but also for the local tourism development. So obviously, this is a major positive. Coming over here, it says Russia inches closer to crypto regulation as minister hands government its draft bill. So obviously we know Russia went from, in a sense, almost kind of banning Bitcoin and crypto to completely 180 and super fast and trying to set out these regulations to, accept Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies as, legal payment type stuff. So it says in a press release, the minister said that the government had also received proposals from the central bank, noting the latter wish to impose a ban on the organization of the issuance and circulation of digital currencies, as well as introduce a liability for relevant offenses. So pretty much the central banks don't like it, okay? They're nervous. So here goes a quote right here. The minister noted, the central bank's proposal will be taken into account in further work on the draft law insofar as they do not contradict the approach of the Ministry of Finance. So pretty much saying, yeah, we'll take it into account, but this is what it is. This is the route we're taking, which is interesting. So there's another one down here. It says the bill also proposes that citizens take online tests before purchasing cryptocurrencies, which will determine their level of knowledge about investing in digital currencies and awareness of their possible risks. So I think that's huge. Obviously you have the whole, in the US you have to be a accredited investor to have access to, private funding and private investments into, startups or whatever the case is. So they're taking this approach of like, hey, you're going to have to take an online test before you're able to purchase cryptocurrencies, which is huge. It almost opens the door for everyone to be able to, I guess, and we'll say legally in quotations, invest into digital assets, which is huge. That's a solid approach. Coming over here, the other positive says that DAO is trying to buy the NFL's Denver Broncos for $4 billion. Buy the Broncos DAO is rallying Netsons to pull funds and buy an NFL franchise. So this is the DAO name, Buy the Broncos DAO. So coming down here says a decentralized autonomous organization is one of crypto's latest buzzwords and refers to a group of people who come together to raise funds for a common mission. In this case, the mission is to buy the American football franchise. So this is huge, a huge positive. It just shows you how you can have. It's almost like a real estate syndicate where you have an individual that runs a syndicate and it, gathers a bunch of different investors. So instead of buying, a $3 million hotel or whatever the case is, you get a bunch of different people that can put in a certain amount of money and it's kind of split, between all the investors. So it's kind of similar thing. So it says, we know it sounds a bit crazy, but it's also a bit BA. Sean O'Brien, who is spearheading the DAO, told CNBC, the purpose essentially is to establish an infrastructure so that fans from all walks of life can be owners of the Denver Broncos. So that's absolutely massive. So obviously, the big talk of the town when it comes to the crypto space is NFTs and being able to, be a part of, a community. Perfect example, the crypto punks. Obviously, those NFTs are super expensive. So if you hold one of those, you have a certain prestige and status within the NFT world. Saying you're a part of that group or cohort of people. So now you have these DAOs that are coming together, putting their funds together to purchase things like this. Like if you're a huge Denver Broncos fan and you have the ability to invest some money in this, you can be a part owner in this, which is absolutely massive. You don't need a centralized entity, to control all that. You can come together in a decentralized manner for, to reach a common goal, which is kind of cool. Coming over here, it says, here's why brands from McDonald's to Walmart are gobbling up metaverse trademarks. From virtual makeup to digital hamburgers, some of the biggest brands are looking to cement their Web3 status. So here goes the in brief portion of it. Says major companies may be trying to avoid another Nike versus StockX situation, and I'll cover that in a second. It says Walmart has filed dozens of trademark requests since December, so we covered all that. So right here it says, as the NFT marketplace becomes a billion-dollar industry, some brands already are taking legal action, such as Nike suing StockX for allegedly selling unauthorized images of its sneakers, while more and more are filing for trademarks to protect digital assets. Even retail giant Walmart is getting into the action, having filed 27 NFT-related trademark requests in the US, Canada, and Mexico since December. So, this is absolutely massive. Obviously, we know all these major corporations and companies are buying into this metaverse play, NFT play, because they see the writing on the wall. They see that it's super early and there's so much room for growth in regards of money and profit. And just exposure in general. Think about it. If, you start, say you buy some land in we'll say the sandbox, right? You have a nice plot of land. You can set up your Nike shop, whatever, and have a bunch of displays of, your latest collection of, clothing or shoes or just athletics equipment or whatever the case is. Just like a normal store. You can go in there, walk around, see what the latest stuff is, possibly bid on, private drops or whatever the case is. Just building awareness of your brand. And not even on that, you can purchase within, the metaverse and put them on your current avatar that you walk around the sandbox with. People buy into that stuff, and you have the game like Fortnite or Call of Duty, where you can have different skins for your weapons. You can change the color of your weapons or the way it looks, or you can have a different character or different apparel on your character. People buy in, they pay a lot of money for that stuff because they value that. So this is just another reason why these major companies are getting into the space, because they see the growth and the potential behind it. Oh, and keep in mind, games like Fortnite and Warzone, those are free games to play, but they make a crap ton of money because of those, new season drops or, buying the latest skin or the latest weapon or whatever the case is. And they see the writing on the wall with that. Here goes another one. Snoop Dogg is one of the GOATs, but he's a genius. It says Snoop Dogg's latest NFT collection may raise more than 125 million. So it says rapper turns Death Row Records into NFT label. The box set are limited to 25,000, and at the time of writing, nearly 10,000 had been sold. Song NFTs will have earning potential on the Gala Music Network. And it says being in crypto trading community. So coming down here, it says at 50, Snoop Dogg shows no sign of slowing down. The rapper recently acquired Death Row Records, the label originally co-founded by Dr. Dre, and has just announced he will turn it into an NFT label. So, if you're a huge, music fan, huge, Snoop Dogg fan, or in any artist that came out of Death Row Records, and you have the ability to, invest your money and own a piece of, what he's offering through this record label, that's absolutely massive. It's just like the whole the DAO with the Denver Broncos. If you're a fan, you have the ability to invest in that. You can be a part owner, which is huge. Ended on this, and I thought this was pretty powerful. This is from Blockworks. It says top government officials that left their jobs for crypto. Why is that though? They see the writing on the wall. They see what our future is. Okay, obviously we got Jay Clayton. We have Brian Brooks. We have Mark Wetjen. You have Thalia Knight. You have Arthur Levitt, William Hinman, Brian Quintes. You have Brett Redfern, and then you have Christian Carlo. And quite honestly, there's so many more people that are literally like shifting their whole, their entire being and all their efforts into metaverse, NFTs, crypto, because they see the writing on the wall. We are so early to this thing. There's so much negativity going around. With all the negativity, you got to, educate yourself, be aware of it, but just, drown out all the noise. Don't do anything irrational, and just realize we are super early to the party. If per history, if you were to purchase, your digital assets, even if you bought Bitcoin at the top at 69,000, if you would have just hold that for 3+ years, per history, you're going to be up at some point. We are so early in this party. Stay level-headed out there. With all that being said, stay strong out there. Be safe.